Hey there, I'm here with Craig, last name the Geologist, right?
The Geologist, that's right, yeah.
So we're out here at Thompson's Harbor, and right now the rocks look a little gray, but I've been here probably 4 years ago, and the rocks I remember being pretty good, so we'll find out soon enough. Although there's a lot of gray rocks, I've already found my first pudding stone. Not a keeper, but it's nice to see something like that, so you know there's going to be more.
There's a splash of color. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, they're not a whole lot of splashes of color, though. Just notice this little guy. And I've always wondered if those are like another mineral that weathered out, or if it's a fossil. So I've got my handy-dandy geologist with me. So what do you think, Craig?
So when I see pieces like this is a piece of limestone here, and when you see stuff weathered out like that, it's always the softer bits. It's never the harder stuff that weathers out first. It's always the softest material in a rock that weathers out first. And so what you have are what I believe are probably poorly mineralized fossils in here that just when the waves work at them, they dissolve out before the rest of the rock. Probably the fossils still have a bit of carbon mixed in with them. You do find limestones out here that still have some of the original carbon in them still, and that makes that material a lot softer.
So I wonder what would happen if I cut that in half. There should be mineral or fossil inside, right?
Yeah, there should be.
So maybe I'll take that home and just cut it in half, just for science.
I haven't done that myself, so make sure you share the video with me when you do that.
Will do. It'll be on YouTube.
All right, I'll check YouTube.
All right, it's time to see what's inside. Smell it. Smells like motor oil. Nothing much going on. I guess there's just something a little bit right there. Let's take another slice. Well, those things look hollow on the inside too. Huh. So, I guess they didn't weather out. I don't know what that means. Maybe I'll have to contact Craig and see if he knows. I think I'll take one more slice just for the heck of it. It's a very soft rock. Yeah, see, those are hollow on the inside too. Weird. I just rinse them off so you don't have anything filling in the holes, so you can really see that they're hollow now. Nothing in those on the inside either. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, thank you for slicing up this rock, Rob, because it revealed the educated guesses we were making about this rock were a bit off. Not wildly off, but a little bit off. We were figuring that the pitting was just on the surface and that it was caused by weak spots in the rock where there was previously organic material, left a weaker zone of rock that was easily eroded by the wave action on the shores. We know that's not the case now. Those pits go all the way through. And so what we've got here is called a vuggy limestone. Vug, V-U-G, is another word for a hole in a rock. So we call it a vuggy limestone because we can't call it a holy limestone unless it was actually blessed by the Pope. Now, how these holes form in the rock isn't very far off from what we were speculating previously. The way they form is by organic material being buried with the limestone. Could be shells, could be any organism of any kind, could even be plant matter. Buried with the limestone, that material decayed away. It did not fossilize. And so it left a cavity behind, along with a little bit of organic acid from the decay process that also ate away a little bit further at the rock. You can see that from the very angular, irregular shape of these cavities in there. If it was like a normal dissolution process, you might expect rounded holes in there. We're not seeing that. This is real angular. This is the shape of the biological material that was buried with the limestone. And that's evidenced a bit by the fact that you got that oily smell when you're cutting it. Those hydrocarbons from the decay of the material in there. Some of that's from the original material that decayed. Some of it was from nearby reservoirs. Oil and gas leaked from the Antrim Shale and other surrounding units that were nearby and got caught in those holes. But what you got there is a vuggy limestone caused by the decay of organic material within the limestone when it was buried. Hope that helps.
The last time I was here, I think, was about 4 years ago, and I remember the rocks being a lot more colorful. The water was a lot higher then, but I walked up where the water would have been before, and they're just as gray there. But one of the things I remember seeing more of is unakite, and I just found a chunk of unakite here. Now this isn't one I would take home because it doesn't look like that high quality, but I'm hoping to find maybe a nice piece that I can cut up and make Christmas ornaments out of or something.
Good job recognizing that. I actually thought that was a granite with algae on it.
No, yeah, I don't think so.
That's definitely epidote. Yeah, 100%. You're definitely right about that.
Thanks for verifying that. I appreciate it.
I thought, why is he filming this rock? It's just an algae-covered granite.
I'm focused on the unakite. I used to tumble more unakite than any other rock by far. Because usually, well, I've learned over the years that sometimes it tumbles better than others. If it looks like granite, it tumbles like granite. And if it looks more swirly, like you see them up in the UP, where the green and the red, the epidote and the feldspar are kind of swirled together, that stuff usually tumbles really well.
Now the epidote doesn't appear to go very much through this rock, does it? Just kind of a coating on the outside. So that's what led me to think algae. But yeah, you're right. Totally epidote. There's a little bit going through there as well.
Whew. Glad I got that right. So I just picked this one up and handed it to my personal geologist. What do you think the red spots are there?
Well, overall, this rock is a quartzite. And it's still a little bit grainy, which tells me that it's kind of an undercooked quartzite. Quartzites begin as sandstones, and the quartz grains fuse together. And so you get a whole range from stuff that is almost sandstone to stuff that is almost purely glassy quartz. And this is a little bit early in the process. So we've got sort of an undercooked quartzite. But as the metasomatism happens, and that's the process of metamorphism, the minerals tend to kind of segregate. And so impurities in the sandstone, especially iron, will start to kind of congregate and move together. And so what you see in here are these red dots where the surrounding red minerals, and we're probably talking about iron in that, would be trying to segregate, trying to collect into points. Rob was asking me if these were garnets in here. These probably, given enough time, could become garnets. But they did not become garnets because they basically weren't cooked long enough. For the same reasons that this isn't a real glassy quartzite, these haven't become garnets in it.
Okay, but it's possible for garnets to form in quartzite?
It is possible.
Okay. Thanks. The rocks are getting slightly more colorful, but I'm going to show you another gray one. Some sort of a coral. It's pretty weathered, so it's hard to tell what it is exactly, but really deep pits in that one. Kind of cool. Just found this one. Pretty sure it was like a chunk of a granite, but I just verified with Craig and he said yes. That's beautiful. I like the reds in there.
In quartz, you don't get geometric shapes. It looks very quartzy, but you don't get real nice, clean, flat surfaces in broken quartz. Quartz has a shattered glass look. So where you're seeing those flat surfaces that are just kind of perfectly formed, what you're seeing are some feldspars that are also clear colored like quartz.
A couple interesting things on the beach here. First off, look at that limestone that's just been broken apart by the freezing and thawing cycle. And then I've been seeing quite a bit of gogandotillite, but this one looks like an above average piece. Pretty colorful. If you like Ogandatilla, you can find this on this beach. If you like limestone, boy, you'd be happy here.
There's fossils in that limestone. If you're a fossil hunter,
Yeah, but not good Petoskey stones.
That's true. You're not finding anything world class or gorgeous.
There are fossils, so if you just like fossils, I like fossils that I can polish up and make beautiful. Not finding those so far. But it's going to get better. I can feel it. At least I'm hoping. Yeah, that's one that's not going to fit in the bucket, but it sure is beautiful. So Craig, I've just learned about migmatite kind of more recently through another person I know, plus you. So which is this? Is this gneiss or migmatite?
This is certainly what I would call a migmatite. Migmatites are rocks that have just been through everything. They have gone through about as much metamorphism as they can handle, and they're just about to melt back into magma, but didn't quite complete the process. And that's precisely what you're seeing here. You're seeing this texture here, which is a very nice style texture. And in fact, you can even see some interesting folding in here as well. There's some interesting structural stuff. So even if you want to define migmatite based on folding structures, you could do that here. But you can see here that this is a rock. I'm not sure what it started out as, but it went to a gneiss and began to remelt into a magma. And that magma then solidified as granite. And you can see all this interesting stuff here where the rock was getting broken up, folding a bit. You can see it's melting in at places. Up here at this side of the rock, you can see almost like shark fins where the magma is melting its way up into the gneiss. And this isn't a case where the magma intruded into it. This would be a case where the whole rock is just melting, and certain zones are melting a little faster than others. And you can see it's melting its way in right there. And you see these other structures in here. It's so really interesting.
I could see, I understand, I think the difference here, but I could see somebody thinking this is a breccia because you've got angular pieces, but those are melting, not broken pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these are a breccia is a rock that's been broken down into gravel basically and kind of glued back together through natural processes. And that's not what we're seeing here. This is not a rock that became gravel. This is a gneiss that was remelting into granite and came close to completing the process. You can see there's more granite here than gneiss. It came close to fully remelting, but didn't quite complete the job.
All right, so here's a rock. If you asked me what it was, I would just say I don't know, because I don't. But Craig's here. So Craig, what do you think about this one?
Oh, what you got here is definitely a stripy rock.
It is that.
But it's not super obvious to me. Now, this has, I'm seeing some banding in here, and I think that's probably metamorphic. Could be looking at a slate in here. This doesn't really look like gneiss necessarily. It also looks very silicified. If you see in here, it's very quartzy. This has a very smooth feel to it.
So this color is probably just on the outside. I bet you that's whiter on the inside would be my guess, just from cutting rocks open.
It might be like some weathering of the feldspar minerals in there or something, but yeah, I would guess that it's going to be more of a black and white, or well, then over on this side, yeah,
It's got a definite stripe there.
Yeah, it's got kind of a slatey look to me. I mean, it doesn't have, so slate you want to find, it's typically platy.
Yeah.
And this is not platy. So I'm hesitant to call this slate, except that I've seen slate that looks similar to this. It's an interesting one. And I can't always identify every rock I see out here, especially on a shoreline without context. Us geologists, we're trained to look at rocks and all the surrounding rocks and judge. And out here, you can't use the surrounding rocks to judge what you're looking at, so it's a little bit trickier.
Well, from what I understand, it's always better to break it and have a fresh surface to look at, right?
Absolutely. If I had a rock hammer, or probably need a full crack hammer for this, I would try to split it down the middle and get a better look at it. Because these smooth weathered surfaces, while they're certainly prettier, it makes it real hard for a geologist to judge, because we're looking at the way rocks break, the way the minerals cleave, and we just don't see any of that on a nice smoothly polished rock like this.
Found might be a sandstone, or it might be just barely turned into quartzite. It doesn't feel super rough. It looks rougher than it feels. Pretty rock, but certainly not something I'd take home and try to polish. Starting to have a few more glacial rocks mixed in here. Overall though, I'd say this is not the best beach I've ever been on, or even close. I'm stooping to film granite. That's how bad it is. This rock's kind of pretty. Well, here's something you don't see every day, and I'm not actually sure what I'm seeing, but there's a huge cable here that's got to be at least an inch in diameter. I don't know if somebody just... That's loose, but there's definitely a hole drilled in that rock. Then there's these big beams, and if you go out here, one of these beams, but there's actually holes drilled in all these rocks. I have never seen something like this. So if anybody knows what was here, I would love to hear about it. It's the most interesting thing I've seen in the whole walk. The rocks might not be as pretty as I'd like here, but this area is just beautiful. Well worth coming down here just to walk down the beach and enjoy the scenery. This came out of the woods up here, if you can call it woods, and he said it's even stranger. So give me a tour. What'd you find?
Well, nothing super dramatic, but it's just odd. So you come up here over this natural embankment of rocks, and you'll find rocks piled up in an unnatural way. It's definitely been piled by somebody, and you will also find to the left of these rock piles trenches dug out as well.
Looks like the rocks came from the hole there and were put here.
Very likely, but what was the purpose of this? Was there a structure built here?
I wonder if, it doesn't look like a railroad bed that, I was thinking maybe a railroad came through. Oh, I see the trench.
And actually, if you look around from up here, you'll see that this is not a natural clearing. If you go back about 50 yards in the direction you're looking there, you'll see older, darker colored trees. And now we have sparser, younger trees over here. So this was cleared out for some purpose at some point. And we've got these trenches and mounds for whatever reason.
Really unusual.
But I haven't seen any concrete structures built over here yet. I haven't seen any foundations, anything like that. I wonder if we will if we keep looking around.
Oh, here's a sign that's no longer legible.
$10 if you can read it.
Yep, that's not going to be read by me. Very interesting.
Is that ridge you're on there, is that a road maybe going back there in the direction of that sign?
Craig just asked if it was a road. Oh, you're talking about this way.
You think this is a road here that goes back?
Yeah, not obviously. Nothing this way that looks like that. Somebody had a fire over here, but there's a trench here. And it goes way back. This trench almost looks like a stream, but not. I think it's unnatural.
Yeah, it clearly dug out.
Oh, this is weird.
All right, so I found this guy just a moment ago. Beautiful,
ooh, that's cool.
Beautiful piece of chert with a little geode pocket in there, a little pocket of
vug.
crystals. Yeah, a little vug.
That's neat. Would that be quartz
tiny.
in there probably, huh?
Yeah, almost certainly quartz.
That's neat.
Yeah, she's pretty.
It's getting sunny now. It's beautiful out. Speaking of beautiful, I just asked Craig if he thought this was a schist.
And I do. I think this is awfully schisty.
Pretty nifty.
Could be getting towards the gneiss region on the metamorphic scale, but I think we're still looking at a schist there.
Nice shade of green too.
I like this this vein of material running right through that.
I just found two interesting rocks. The first one I saw is that chert right there, but I'm going to come back to that because I also found this, which I don't know what it is, so hopefully the local geologist will help me. So here's the deal. When you're looking at rocks that are mostly gray limestone, any color at all it comes across is just the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. So I don't know if this is actually very beautiful.
This is breathtaking.
It's iron stained.
It is.
I think.
It's very lightweight. I expected it to be heavier based on the color. It may be iron stained, but certainly not an iron stone.
Any idea what we got there? It's too hard to tell with all the iron, I think.
Yeah, it's looking pretty quartzy in here. Maybe we got a quartzite that's got a lot of... yeah, here we go. Here's a broken side here. I'm going to say it's probably a quartzite that's got a lot of iron in it. It looks like it's a dark colored quartzite.
Right. All right, we're going to go for the chert, which is probably just stained also. That's probably gray inside, huh? I keep hoping I find a banded chert, but...
Almost certainly, but it's awfully pretty.
Pretty color.
Or maybe it's maybe it'd be more of that tan color. You get a lot of tan color stuff sometimes.
More up in the UP, I find that on Lake Superior it's more tan colored. Down here it tends to be more gray.
I found a lot in the Traverse City area also, but it's probably from the same glacial lobe that carried the stuff through the UP.
Right. All right, no bands.
No, I don't see bands on that.
Keep looking. All right, we have exciting rock breaking action here. Craig's wondering what color that chert is on the inside.
I just want to see inside of it, and I don't have a rock hammer with me, so I'm going to go Stone Age here. Now remember, whenever you're breaking a rock, wear eye protection. And I just got regular eyeglasses on. I would generally recommend having better eye protection than that, especially if you're going Stone Age like this.
And I'm covering my eyes.
Whoa, all right. We have to find a way to brace that in there without using my fingers.
Or my fingers.
Could you hold that for me, Rob?
No.
Plenty of fragments hitting my legs. Well,
it's a slightly chipped rock now.
Yeah, just very slightly.
All right, what was a good effort?
Do a time lapse on this video. 3 hours later. I'm not giving up. I'm gonna keep trying a little bit.
I thought you were.
We gotta be close. We gotta be close, right?
Hit it like you mean it.
Yeah, I'm afraid if I do that, it'll hit me like it means it. Okay, I'm gonna sit down here. All right. I like hitting it from that angle. All right. Time to be reckless.
Can you hit it with a corner of that rock instead of a flat face?
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Very white inside. See, I was guessing, based on the coloration outside, that it was going to be tan colored or brown. But I was very much wrong. Pure white.
I suspected gray, not that light colored. I thought it was going to be a darker gray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would think there'd be something other than white based on all the red and tan on the outside of that.
Okay, while you're down there, could you just whittle that into a little arrowhead for me?
Yeah, I'll do my best. Here we go. Here you go. It's a preform.
Right.
Go ahead and take a preform here.
All right, I just picked up what I think is a pretty cool looking rock. So
this is gorgeous.
Is it geologically beautiful?
It is. It's a gabbro. A gabbro is basically compositionally the same as a basalt. A basalt is a pretty boring black lava rock. This guy, however, forms deep underground. Gabbro is the intrusive equivalent of basalt. This wanted to become a volcano, but failed to reach the surface. So it solidified underground, giving it lots of time to crystallize these very large crystals all throughout here.
So just the slower cooling lets those crystals grow, right?
The longer it takes to cool, the larger the crystals get. Pegmatites can take hundreds of thousands of years to cool, and basalts cool in minutes.
Oh, really? Pegmatites take that long?
They can. They can.
Okay.
The biggest, chunkiest ones, things that are like with crystals like thumb size, you're talking thousands to tens of thousands of years. And if you're talking some of the most dramatic ones with like fist-sized crystals, those can take hundreds of thousands of years.
I had no idea.
It's a long process.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So
what would those minerals be in there?
this would be a lot of amphiboles in there, and some pyroxenes. These are mineral classes. They are generally classified as mafic minerals. That basically means dark, which you can see already. We just use fancier words for it.
Mafic is what, magnesium and Fe for iron together?
You know, I'm not sure.
Okay,
you might be schooling me on that. I'm not.
I thought that's what mafic meant. Is like is magnesium Ma?
Yeah.
And Fe is iron.
Magnesium is Mg.
Okay.
But
I don't know. I thought it was something like that, but I'm not. I don't know.
Because it's mafic and felsic are the varieties.
And felsic comes from feldspar.
Feldspar and silica.
Okay.
That would make felsic. So yeah, mafic. Guess who's going on Google tonight? I don't know.
So besides rocks, I like gardening, and I like plants, and I just saw this plant that I've never seen before, and it's just beautiful. There's a bunch of it along the beach here, and so I looked it up using one of those plant identifier apps, and so I don't know if this is accurate, but it said it's a geranium called Geranium Robert, which is my name. So that's extra fun. But isn't that a beautiful little plant? And I have some perennial geraniums in my garden. I like perennial geraniums, but I've never seen this little guy. It's on a vine. See the vine along here?
We came out here to look at rocks, man. What's going on?
The geologist doesn't like my interest in plants. Tough. Get over it.
Get those biologics out of the way. We're looking at rocks.
Now I'm going to look at more of these geraniums, just to spite you.
Oh, man.
All right, I'll stop. Remember this beach having more unikite than we've seen today. We've seen very little, actually. But that's one of the biggest pieces of unikite I've ever seen. It's not very high quality. Looks too much like granite, but it's big. Just walked out to a point here. Not to the tip of the point yet. Did I mention this place is gorgeous? The reason I turned the camera on right here is because I just found this. It's a survey marker. I've seen things like this, I don't know if they're exactly the same kind as this, but in a big boulder on the beach before. This one's in concrete, and it looks like it's moved a little bit. So I don't know if it's actually doing its job very well. Been here for a while, 1979. I'm out at the end of the point now. I gotta say, the rocks have gotten very boring. Lots and lots and lots of limestone. Little piece of chert here and there. There's one. There's a few other rocks, but very, very few. It's not limestone with a bunch of great fossils in it. So, I think this is a good place to turn around and head back. Found more of this geranium in bloom this time. What pretty little flowers. There's a green one. And wouldn't you know it, it's got a stripe. Green and stripy. That's like the best. What do you think? Epidote?
Yes, definitely epidote in there. Now you couldn't call that an unakite because it's not in a granite.
I'm going to translate. He calls it unakite. I call it unikite.
And you've actually looked up how to pronounce the Unaka Mountains.
I think I got that right. I watched a video and they pronounce it with a long U sound.
You are probably correct, and I should probably stop calling it unakite and start calling it unikite.
I think I pronounce a bunch of things wrong. Prenite is one I ever. You just say prenite, and I always say prenite, and I can't stop myself.
Yeah.
But I should. Craig just found a very nice one.
Yeah, not too bad. You can see the agate banding in there along the edges. This probably would have been a very nicely crystalline pocket originally. It's been worn down by the waves a bit.
So just to be clear, this is a cold water agate rather than a Lake Superior agate. But pretty good banding. Sometimes cold water agates aren't all that impressive, but that one's nice. What's the other side look like?
It looks like nothing at all.
Yuck.
Looks like a piece of limestone.
Don't want to look at that.
A bit of algae. This is the pretty side right here.
Very nice. Look what Craig just found.
This is a real oddball, and I found it perched on top of another rock, so I may not be the first one to find it. But this is an extremely weathered Charlevoix stone, I believe.
Show the bottom or side.
Yeah, let's have a look at that.
You can see the coral a lot better.
You can see where the coral would have been anchored to the seafloor right around here, and it comes out.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Favosites.
Yeah.
Charlevoix stone.
It's very hexagonal, but they're small, so.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to say Favosites. I'm going to say Charlevoix here. Really pretty. And yeah, the way it's weathered, you can see it getting powdery on the surface. Gives it a really odd look. I like that.
So Craig has his own channel. What can people expect there? Maybe you could suggest one to watch.
Yeah, sure. Well, I film rocky beaches and other places like Rob does. However, I go a lot more seriously into the science of how the rocks formed, how you can identify them for yourself. I filmed recently at Gratiot River County Park, both during the day and at night for a Uperlite hunt. So you might be interested in joining me there.
That's a great park. So we'll put a link here. Click on that and go see him over there.
I'll see you there.